A recent interview on Mum's the Word podcast, hosted by Georgia Jones and Kelsey Parker. Sian Welby spoke about her decision to go back to work after having her daughter and the reaction to it.
There's also no stigma for a lad to go back the next day.
No.
Whereas I went back after 3 months, and I know no one was horrible to me, and touch wood, I didn't have any immediate comments or anything particularly. But then again,
Have you had comments since?
No, not that I know of. As in, people have had conversations going, "Oh my God, you went back after 3 months." So there is an undercurrent of judgment.
Glo, you went back to work about 2 weeks after you gave
Doesn't that sound
birth.
horrific? We're looking back on it at this stage.
But I know some say it's a different time, but was it a different time? And did you feel that there was an undercurrent of judgment because you'd only had those 2 weeks?
No, because the thing is, I had worked all my life. I started to work singing when I was about, like Colin, 6.5 or something like that. And so I'd been used to work as such. And then when we sort of went through and had children, you know, your husband wasn't allowed anywhere near you having a baby. So you had the baby on your own as such with the nurses. And then they rang the pub and said, you've had a boy or you've had a girl, whatever. That was the way it was. And it's not that I went back to work, 9 to 5 or anything after 2 weeks. It was a well-paid job. And I thought to myself, well, maybe I'll just go back. And actually, I wasn't aware, should I say, of any sort of criticism of it. I just did it and came home. And other jobs, when I was given a job broadcasting, which was really a gift to me, I was able to drop the kids off to school in the morning, go and do the job, and then pick them up in the afternoon. So I was always mum. And the only other caveat I would say is that you have to have really good backup behind you. And I had older people rather than young 18, 19-year-old girls. And I therefore felt quite comfortable that they were being well looked after.
But I think those who were shocked that, a woman goes back to work after 3 months, it's a real privilege to have longer than that, because especially if you are self-employed, a freelancer or what have you, sometimes financially there simply isn't any other choice, is there, Cole?
Well, no. I mean, if you're self-employed, which we are, you can't take a year off work, especially if you're the main breadwinner in the house and all of that. You can't just go, I'll have a year off unpaid. So I think Kira was about 2.5, 3 months when I went back. But her dad was with her and I was there as much as I could be. And I never really thought anything of it. And I wouldn't think anything of it whatever woman went back. I think it's lovely that you do, if you're, an employee, that you have... because I had 5 months, because working over at the news, I had 5 months full pay and then a combination of holiday leave and what have you for the next 3 months, and then I went back to work. Yeah, I mean, quite frankly, I didn't want to be there 24/7. I needed a break.
Yeah, and that's, did I get judgment for 8 months? I think people were surprised that I didn't take a year, but I was a bit like, I am ready to come back. I'm done with this. But you didn't have a choice either.
I don't actually know what gives anybody the right to judge anybody on when they come back or what they do, because everybody's personal circumstance is different. And for me, obviously, I was a single mum, and I was the one that was making the money and bringing in and looking after the kids. So with Jamal, I went back at 3 months. With Tanisha, I went back at 2 months. There wasn't any choice, but not that I didn't want to do that anyway, because I have that work ethic. But I don't think anyone has the right to say you should or you shouldn't.
Or you're a bad parent.
Or you're a bad parent.
Exactly. Whether someone doesn't want to be there, or if it's a financial decision, it really is nobody else's business. And quite frankly, people get involved in things that they shouldn't be.
And also, if you want to do it, that's the other thing. If you want to continue doing what it is you've been doing, that's the other element.
There was a survey done the other day that said that 49% of UK parents with children who are 4 years and under said they'd felt overwhelmed or a lot of the time in the past 12 months. But it got me thinking about the difference between surviving and thriving. And I remember someone sort of saying to me that actually you survive until the kid is about 5 months, and then you can start trying to get some semblance of thriving. And I would say that that's probably the same with me, because I had the kids, I guess, in quick succession compared to what it used to be. They're only 2 years, 2 months apart. So at one point I had two under 2.5 years, sorry. And it was really hard. And I think when Florence then reached 5 and went to school, finally it's like, OK, I feel a little bit more normal. Because financially, for a lot of people, it's simply you're working full-time, 2 young children. you're not in a position where you can sort of take time out from that. And it can be really hard to juggle the kids when they're young, right?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the time I look at it and say that it's you're living to work sometimes. It's like you're just working, and you haven't got anything to show for it, per se, which is, you know, later on in my life, obviously, I've made the decision, like, 15 years ago to become self-employed and work for myself and do my own hours and do what I want to do. And that's kind of working out for me, even though, obviously, taxes is just crazy right now. But, you know, I wanted to get myself from feeling that I'm always just working and not seeing
Gloria,
anything
you
out of
love
that.
work, don't you?
Yes, I do. I mean,
Loved
see,
work.
even at my age, you know, my youngest son will say, why don't you just take a bit of time off and sort of go and sort of, I don't know, live in France or Italy or somewhere? I go, I don't want to, because I like my work and I find it stimulating. I meet new people all the time. I learn something all the time, and I want to do it. That's what it goes back to, whether you've got an interesting job that you love to do or whether you're glad to get rid of that job.
Yeah.
Can I just say, if I win the lottery, you will never see me again. I am staying, I am mucking horses out and looking after my goats, and you ain't coming round.
I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because you sort of, especially when you like what you do and, you know, when you have no choice but to do that job because you've got bills to pay and all of that stuff, which is the majority of people in the country have to work in some shape or form in order to be able to pay those bills in the house and to support that we would all, you know, quite like from the government in terms of encouraging us to go out and work because they are, through tax breaks or whatever, give us a bit of a, you know, they give us a sort of, they hold us financially or help us when we've got the kids. And I think, you know, that isn't always there when you have young children. But as a result of having to pay those bills, do you ever feel that element of, I wish I'd been there?
Yeah. I think...
For, like, nativity or...
There was moments, you know, I missed, you know, a nativity play or I missed a sports day. And I know as a kid, because my parents never came because they were always working, and I loved my parents, but I remember that moment of walking out in the school, you know, stage or whatever, and every kid ever looks for the parents, don't they? And I used to look out and think, oh, they're not there. And I remember that feeling. I didn't blame them, but I remember it. And I was so aware of it with mine. So whenever I could, I mean, I've cancelled work because I'd say, no, it's their first day at school and I need to be there. But there's certain times when I couldn't cancel.
Well, let me tell you something. Now that you've got 3 lovely grandchildren, watch this space. You won't be able to do this programme because you have to go to the children's nativities and their plays and everything. No, not by choice. It's just the grandchildren are going to take over.
On air, is there?
Nothing quite like it. She's literally written you off.
We don't know.
Although to be fair, if I can completely see your kids doing that and putting you to work with those grandchildren.
No, I've already told them they're not. No, I can't wait to have them, but they're not taking advantage.
You're lying.
I am so lying.
I know you. It's so not going to happen.
Really? I would say that this will be Colleen's final year on These Women. Right, so